Welcome to part two. We're joined by Rico. Women love him, men want to be him. Apparently, when Rico were younger in Finland, they were queuing up for him. Pop, pop, bang. Welcome back, Rico. Parker Wilder, what round does Parker end up on? Button Moon.
I think it will be probably in the first few rounds. I just think Parker isn't a good heavyweight, and Wilder has that kind of power. So, and we've seen Parker against Joyce. We've seen Parker's best days are behind him. How old is Parker now? 33, 34,
31.
31. But, he's had a long career in terms of, and he's had a lot of hard fights. He's got 36 fights. Joe Joyce KO'd him. So if Joe Joyce can KO him, I am sure that Wilder will KO him.
Yeah. What do you think about Parker being trained by Andy Lee?
Um, I mean, look, I don't think I think from what I've seen, Andy Lee's a decent trainer, so I guess it's all part of that because he's close to the Furies, isn't it? It's all part of the same cabal where you've got Sugar Hill, Andy Lee, Furies. For all intents and purposes, he's training at the Fury camp. And I imagine a lot of Fury's sparring done but with Joe Parker because they're good mates.
Yeah, I mean, he's from New Zealand, right? He's probably British European level on a good day, in it,
Yeah.
Parker. He flew to win over Ruiz in his hometown in New Zealand, right? Fair enough. But if Ruiz fought him now, he'd light him up, I think. Yeah.
Well, Reeves won that fight, but it was never given
He
to.
won by 3 rounds, in my opinion. It was shocking, wasn't it?
Reeves was a lot better in that fight, but he was never going to get it.
The Gad has piped up yesterday. The people are asking him about the talk sport beef between Adam Cattrall and Bricktop, this intense beef. And the Gad said he can't comment because he's been gagged. Well, who's gagged him? Is it Bricktop or Talksport? Because all of a sudden he's lost his tongue. Why is that, Gaddy?
I think it's talk sport. And also, I wouldn't be surprised if this was just made up beef, right?
Made up beef.
Yeah. Homemade beef.
Homemade beef Wellington. Well, what it is, mate, is this is how I look at it. It's like Big John Fury in Daily Mirror yesterday. Tyson's in decline. I've noticed it for about a year. Are they just saying that so Usyk eases off in camp and all that nonsense? Or is it just chatting shit for the sake of chatting shit, Rico?
I think he just chats shit. I don't think he's particularly strategic. I think the problem with
Strategic.
boxing.
What? Fury's strategic. The bull in the
I
China
don't think
shop.
that's what I mean. He isn't strategic. He just says whatever comes to his head at that moment.
I do.
You know, if a journalist rung him up, he'd probably just talk at them for 20 minutes.
That's right.
Without even
I had the pleasure of John Fury 2 nights on trot on that. Well, different phones like 2 hours a time, but 2000 and when Tyson went off rails, 2016. About summer around about
yeah.
then, putting steam off. Honestly, he's a character, John, but no, he's overstepped the mark, hasn't he? Recently, hasn't he? Come on.
Yeah, I think what's happened, right? He became a character of himself and he went so overboard that people are kind of disgusted by it. And now he's trying to rein it back with talking about how he's not feeling well and how he's feeling sad and he's trying to get sympathy, right?
What do you think to that mental health card that every now and then, when they do wrong, they either they come out and go to a gym and take disadvantaged kids on punch bags, or B, they want to make donations to charity or KSI to make it, or C, the mental health card. Why is this so predictable? It's like I think everybody's cottoned on now what's going on, aren't they?
But it's only in boxing. If you think about in football, when people do come out and they talk about mental health, they are, these are people that are seriously impacted. In boxing, every time somebody loses,
uh,
yeah, I mean, we had Sandy Ryan that's saying or Shannon Courtney always saying, oh, well, when they lose, they say, I need to go off social media for my mental health, or they come out with something. I think in boxing, it's more prevalent than any other sports, but I think the problem there is it undermines people that have mental health issues because they just use it as something, as a thing to just try to comment. I mean, of course, people feel sad and down, and some of these people might have mental health challenges, but at the end of the day, in boxing, it's become so sort of endemic that everybody's just using it here and there all the time, just because they just want to essentially just use it so they get sympathy.
Yeah. December 23rd in Saudi, it's on DAZN and it's 20 quid. What do you think, Rico? Bearing in mind there's no heavyweight title on the line, but it's a 20 quid show. I think that's a fair price for what they're putting on. This is just a normal run-of-the-mill show 10 years ago, isn't it?
I mean, yes and no. I mean, you have to look at 10 years ago, boxers were you had lots more good boxers, right? Now, like, this is a card that has lots of good boxers, not necessarily fighting against each other. I don't mind it being 20 quid. But again, it probably talks more to the state of boxing than it does to the quality of the card.
Yeah. Yeah. Fury's saying after he's beat Usyk February 17th, he's handing all belts back. So that tells you that he's not going to rematch him if he beats him, doesn't it? And also, is he just going to go for Ngannou and bail out? I don't know. Why would you say that? Or is it just Fury?
I think he's going to move to this YouTube boxing or, something else. He's going to do, because the money will be there for him to do that. And the money is there these days. So I can see him not being beholden to the sanctioning body. So not wanting to do that, not to have a slew of mandatories like, they had after the Klitschko fight. So I can even see him probably saying, you know what, I'll hand them over and I'll do my own thing.
Well, these are names.
Does Fury need a belt to make an interesting fight?
No, not really. But these are names that people are bandying about from the camp. Big Show, John Jones, Ngannou rematch, Tom Aspinall. There's 4 there, and Tom's had 1 professional fight, but they're like crossover fight types, aren't they? Could you see any of them happening, Rico?
Yeah, I think there's money in that. We've seen that with Fury and Ngannou, and also because Fury and Ngannou was close enough, people will be intrigued, especially if Fury was willing to do any sort of fighting that was not strictly boxing.
He's not going to do that. They're going to want.
No, he wants to win, but you know what I mean.
You know what I mean? Yeah. Did you see Liam Cameron's comeback?
I didn't watch it, but I saw his comeback. Yeah.
Yeah, he's cruiserweight now, Liam.
Lee Eaton, right?
No, Liam Cameron.
No, but is he with Lee Eaton?
No, he's with Izzy Asif. Is it them next door to my studio at Rotherham? The South Yorkshire Hotels. Yeah. They're partners with that, aren't they? So they've got Liam Cameron at the moment, yeah.
Who put on the show that he came back on? I'm just checking.
Yeah, GMB, is it?
Let me check. Who's the event promoter? Yeah, it is. Izzy Asif.
Izzy Asif, yeah. Well, they're next door to me, like, so that'll have gone down like a lead balloon with Big Ron.
Ron. But
Big Ron's on Skid Row, isn't he?
I think with Cameron, as long as he stays in boxing gym, it's probably good for him, right? So it's one of those where you kind of, I think he's
like he was in quicksand though. It were awful to see it. It looked like he were in quicksand, mate. But it's his first.
Well, yeah, but it's not surprising, is it?
4.5 years out and all that. It's a long time, isn't it? He's got a long way to go and he's got weight to get off. And I think you become civilized after a year, 18 months. If you're a boxer and you're not training, and I think Fury, I think he's abused his son that much. I think it's all cut up with him like Hatton. He can't keep having cheat night. I deserve a night out now. 2 week in camp. You can't keep doing that. You can do it in your 20s. You can't in your mid 30s, can you?
No, no, that's the point.
Crusher Ben and Eubank, it looks like it's dead in the water. He's calling out Boots Ennis now. Do you really think that we believe that you, little Crusher Ben, you little mong, that you want to get in with Boots Ennis? Stop using other people's... Take Boots Ennis' name out your mouth, you. Have you heard him? Calling
I
Boots...
have seen them.
If they said, yeah, you can have it, and Boots Ennis said, yeah, I'll fight for free. Come on then, Ben. Your arsehole would fall out, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I mean, Boots Ennis is winning that in 5-6 rounds.
He'd light him up. Light
Yeah.
him up. Put him on button moon.
But it's a bit like how much people used to use Errol Spencer's name and everybody else's. It's a British boxing staple as a tactic, isn't it? Use other people's name to promote yourself.
Yeah. People keep saying to me, oh, how do you know this? How do you know that? You can't say this, you can't say that. Listen, Luke, this gentleman, you know that tweet I sent you that Tyson Fury put out 3 years, 7 months ago, saying, yeah, make the Joshua fight, let's get it on. That was 3 years, 7 months ago.
Yeah,
Little things like that, people like me, we press favourite and we save. And then down the line, when it comes up on the pipe up, we pull it out. It's called doing our job. Yes, you did say it, and I've sent you it. What? I've not heard no from you. Exactly. That's what happens, Rico. Fury says a lot. So I'm going to say this. Boxers, when you're putting tweets out, calling people out, it might come back to bite you in the arse if it doesn't happen. Do you know what I mean? Because when you're fighting Chisoras and Dylan Whites and Ngannou, and then you're delaying Usyk fights, it pisses boxing fans off, doesn't it, Rico? So I think that I had a right to say, where are we going with this? But nobody's really put it on them to say, come on, Frank. Frank's got to stick up for his fighter. We understand that, but the goalposts keep getting moved, and we're in a situation now where we're into the 25th year without an undisputed champion. But all we've heard for 25 years, every day from these shithouses is, all roads lead to undisputed. Well, they don't, do they, Rico? It's pure bullshit.
Yeah. I'd say the other thing is, you're getting, the fans get a subpar product, but in addition to that, the other thing is that, we're not, it just kills interest in boxing. You're watching UFC and these other sports. It's easier to make an Ngannou against Fury fight. And we always told the money isn't there, the interest will grow. And then you kind of get past it where the interest is way past it.
Yeah.
I mean, even like, if I don't see Fury Joshua, I'm not too bothered anymore. That movement passed. That ship sailed.
Are you not bothered at all, Rico?
I mean, I'd like to see it, but I'm not. I think we're not watching these two fighting in their prime, are we?
And that bothered me when I paid for Mayweather Pacquiao, Rico. I was like, it were 5 years too far. And the Fury Joshua,
exactly.
It should have been Joshua Wilder when they were undefeated, and then it should have been Fury Joshua, and they've all gone in different directions and millions of pounds, but not fought each other. Well, to be fair, Fury fought Wilder, but let's have it right. He was fed to Wilder as donkey fodder, wasn't he, in that first fight?
Yeah, he was.
So Bricktop, don't make out you were doing a Fury any favours there. You saw his fight before the first Wilder one. You thought, let me get a few quid out of this, didn't he? That's how.
Yeah, that's what happened essentially.
Joshua Wallen, we know they're fighting, but the rematch clause, does that leave a bad taste in your mouth, Rico? Oh, we covered that earlier, didn't we? Does it really? Because it looks like it's getting further and further away, pal, doesn't it? The Wilder thing with Joshua.
I mean, look, the rematch clause, I don't mind, because if Joshua can't beat Wallen, he might as well just retire at that point.
Yeah. Can Crusher Ben win a world title at 147?
No. Next question.
Why does it take months for these commissions to deal with banning somebody that's failed dope tests? Why is it dragging on and on and on and on and on? Why?
The problem is the process, right? The process is that all these fighters now, like I saw Alicia Baumgartner, all these fighters get their own findings and, prove that the sample wasn't correct. and you end up in these truncated disputes where one party is saying this and the other party is saying that. It should be, if the commission or the doping body that the commission uses, whether that's WADA, USADA, UCAD, if they catch you, then you just get banned. It doesn't matter what you do at that point. They have an adverse finding, you just get banned. It doesn't matter whether you provide your own samples, because these labs, like Ben had his own scientist and everybody else, they're not they're not impartial. And do you remember with Ben, like, he was going to release this dossier and, he was calling out and then he all went a bit quiet, but it just that left a sour taste in everybody's mouth in boxing. That's the kind of stuff that really kills boxing, because the sport isn't run in a sensible way.
Yeah. Do you see it ever being resolved? Because we're now like September, October, November. So we're like 16 and a half months, aren't we, down line here? Nearly 17 since the original. No, it was July, wasn't it? But he last fought in April. Then it was 18 months out ring, but it's 16 and a half months since the first drug test, isn't it? And then it's 13 and a half months since the second one, isn't it? So there's 2 dope tests, 4 adverse findings, 2 A's, 2 B's. Why haven't we got closure on this? All these big wigs and know-alls, and I mean, every time they were dealing with it at the beginning, Eddie Hearn was saying, "Yeah, it's all going to be sorted within 3 weeks," and then 3 weeks became 6 weeks, and 2 months, and 6 months, and this is like these other fights they keep getting away from us. They keep wheeling Eddie Hearn out, and these other people in front of the cameras, and they're just spinning utter lies that they know is bullshit. These people are selling bullshit, constantly lying to fans.
It's just confusion tactics, isn't it?
The YouTubers are not pulling them up on it, Rico. What do you think?
Well, it's just confusion tactics. That's the problem, right? So they just try and confuse you. They want to give you so much information overload, that what it means is that nobody knows what's true, what isn't, and then you kind of keep the fighter's name clear. But all it does is it really just kills boxing.
I mean, there's an old saying that Big Ron used to use dealing with stuff in scrap metal and all sorts of bankers, and there's certain things he'd say, "Yeah, they're telling me everything, Porky, but showing me nothing."
Well, that's it.
What Eddie and them are doing. They're telling us everything, what's happening, but they're showing us nothing. They didn't show us the dossier, but they're telling us everything. Eddie's talking all day, 16, 20, between 16 and 22, 23 interviews a day with all these media people, telling us everything, what's going on, and keep talking all fucking day. But they showed us nothing. Where's the dossier? Just give us the dossier. You've got it. It's in your. He said it's MAESTRO. Show us that dossier. Why can't they show us it?
I think the board should publish a report or the governing body or the sanctioning body, every time somebody fails a test, they should publish a report with the finding, because that's where you want transparency for the fans, right?
Why can't they just show us it? And let us, why does it have to be like this? Why is it all in mystery? And another thing, right? Nobody pulls them up on it because they lose access, don't they? So it's like
well, the media's part of the establishment in boxing. I think we've said that.
Problem. IFL, Boxing Social, and these other outlets like that, seconds out, they're even worse than IFL at the moment, aren't they? For propaganda, that flexing, you're shocking. Come see me, shocking. It's shocking, and Derek Chisora's piped up yesterday. I made the blueprint to beat Usyk. You've seen it, haven't you? I laid the blueprint. What do you think to that one? 40-year-old talking like Scooby-Doo.
I thought it was Bellew who was shouting on the sidelines that laid the blueprint.
What about Johnny Nelson? Bellew's technically better than Usyk. Go on, Johnny.
Yeah.
Good luck with that one, Johnny. Johnny with his MBE, though. Oh, Scott. MBE'd up. What do you think to that, Rico?
Well, what can you say, right?
David Benavidez against Andrade, Rico. Who you got?
I think Benavidez. I never really rated Andrade. Do Andrade isn't an entertaining fighter, and I don't think he's actually that good.
Gets light up tonight, doesn't he?
He does.
I think he does. Uh, Solomon Dakros has left Eddie and gone to Bricktop. Do you see this being a regular thing now? People crossing the street thinking, well, Bricktop's the man. Is it?
I think we see that. We've seen that over the time, right? But some people are. All these promoters have their favourites that they put on shows and give them, opportunities. And clearly, Solly Dakers wasn't a guy that was high on the priority list. I don't think it's a big loss for Matchroom, and I don't think it's a big gain for Queensbury.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you think Queensbury will go on from strength to strength now?
No, I mean, look, the centre of gravity in boxing is in Saudi Arabia, right? And they decide who goes on the card. So, as long as you're working with the Saudis, you've got money to put on the big shows. But there's not many big fighters in the UK that really attract interest. The thing that the Saudis would really like to crack is to have US fighters on their cards, but because of time differences and time zones, it probably doesn't work.
Do you think that Bricktop and Eddie and them out there in Saudi, obviously they're gobbling everybody off and slurp, 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 slurp. But do you think that all they've become basically now is just matchmakers?
Yeah,
People
that's what they are.
the fighters, like, well, we want him on here. Because from what I'm seeing, everybody they've asked for so far, they've gone, yes, like blockbusters. What number do you want? Number a T? Yeah,
That's essentially what it's become,
Bob.
right?
Yes, please.
But,
It's like blockbusters, isn't it? Yes, please.
but you always needed that to make boxing better, and hopefully that means there's better fights, because I don't think the Saudis are going to swallow all these different cards and everything else. So I do think there's better fights to be made, but the only way it gets made is when British boxing continues to decline. People are going to have to put their best fighters in Saudi Arabia so they can keep making money, and that means the Saudis will demand good fights. They're not going to have anybody and everybody on the cards all the time.
Do you think Vidal Riley will fight Isaac Chamberlain?
Maybe. I mean, Bill O'Reilly doesn't want to seem to. I think Joe Lords might be a better opponent. Isn't Joe Lords the
O'Reilly's good to know, isn't he? 6 by weight of age 26. He's had 38 rounds. So he's still a novice, in my opinion. But people are saying he's a bit better than that, and he should be fighting.
Well, he's a YouTuber, isn't he? I mean, he's quite well known in those circuits. So
it's been O'Reilly.
Yeah.
He went up at EIS one a few years ago.
Yeah, but he's been YouTubing and doing other stuff, so he's quite well known in that world, isn't it?
What do you think to Jay Opitea, the Aussie kid?
He's all right. I think he's okay. I think, but that division isn't as good as it was a few years ago, right?
What about Dan Aziz? What about Dan Aziz?
Yeah. I think Dan Aziz is a class fighter. I just hope they just keep him more active and keep promoting him. I think he's one of the better. If you think about Jay Opataya, when you had Usyk, Gassiev, Dorticos, Bradis, all these guys at division, I don't think Jay Opataya would have been as good as he is now. But he's he's a decent fighter. I don't think that Jordan Thompson fight really made sense, but you can only fight who's in front of you.
What about Lawrence Okoli, aka the Sauce? You think the Sauce will come back to stink out arenas again?
I think he should go to heavyweight. I think he'd be better heavyweight.
It's like a fresh start for him. Go a new trainer and go again.
Yeah, a heavyweight, because he won't have the same advantages. He does have real power, so I think he will be more entertaining at heavyweight.
Yeah. Yeah. What do you see happening with Shane McGuigan? Do you see him ever winning trainer at year? Young enough, isn't he?
Well, I think at some point he'll continue to attract good fighters in his stable, so I'm sure he'll win at some point. But the accolades don't mean as much as having those world champions. So if you think about Joe Gallagher, Ring Magazine Trainer of the Years, that's an amazing achievement. But actually, the most amazing achievement was what he did with Crawler.
Gary
That
Sykes.
was more amazing than the Ring. Pardon?
You know, Julian's fighter, Gary Sykes, he beat
Yeah.
Crawler twice.
Yeah.
Beat him twice, and it didn't work out for Gary, after boxing and that, and obviously it has for Crawler, but he can say, well, I won a British title and I beat Crawler twice, but rest of it.
But if you think about Crawler's career, it's all he just kept surprising and surprising and surprising, and Joe Gallagher got the best out of him. So we don't have many.
He did Quiggy as well, didn't he?
Yeah, but we don't have many trainers like that can. You watch a fight and say, you know what, they're fighting at the best they can every fight, and they really get into the highest level, and maybe they're not the most talented. And that's the thing that what Joe Gallagher, what kind of set him apart from a lot of the other British trainers is, although his guys were, technically sound, but not, he got the best out of all of them. And you look at what's happened to Callum Smith and Liam Smith and others after they've left, and you can see what the results are.
Yeah. Peter tells me Yui's out in February. About time, isn't it?
Yeah, he's been out for a long time.
Let's hope he can get some ring rust. What do you think to the Ergovic situation, Rico? Because the quiet word, as you know, doing the rounds is that Ergovic's going to blow Demori away. Joshua's going to beat Wallin, and after Fury against Usyk have fought, the IBF's going to be free anyway. Even if Fury vacates them, they're still going to take one at belts, aren't they? For Ergovic, because they don't want to fight him because there's no money in it. Do you think Joshua will go that route to get back to get a belt?
Yeah, I think so. You know what, Hergovic isn't that scary of a fighter. I think he's been massively hyped due to his amateur record. But, I mean, he lost to Jilei Zhang. We can all say that. And he hasn't really ever impressed.
Do you think if Anthony Joshua comes back and beats Ergovic and is put out there as a three-time world champion like Holyfield and Muhammad Ali, do you think that people will say, yeah, but he's been spoon-fed?
Yeah, but nobody cares whether you're a three-time champion. People care about who you beat, right?
And his CV has got more holes in it than Swiss cheese, Joshua's, hasn't it, really? When you scratch the surface. Same as Fury's, hasn't it? Although he got the Wilder wins, fair enough. I don't give him that much credit for Vladimir because he were an old man at the end. But I do for the Wilder. I do for the two Wilder wins.
I think I give him credit for the Vladimir fight because he was such an underdog, right? And Vladimir was younger than he was against Joshua. And I think most people thought Fury's going to lose that fight. So I give him credit. And I mean, look, Peter Fury did an outstanding job in that fight.
He did.
So I think we have to give him credit because he can only fight who's in front of you. And Vladimir's older than Tyson by quite a bit. So
Tyson didn't want it 4 years before, though, did he? After he beat Chisora, he knocked it back then, didn't he? Or 3 years before.
Yeah, but that's also about good management, right? Maybe Peter and the team knew that it wasn't the right time. Tyson wasn't ready for it.
Yeah. Middleweight division at the moment, Rico. Can you tell me who champ is?
No idea.
There you go. Is it Johnny Beck?
Let me check. It probably is, but again, he's a boxer that not many people have seen boxed, and not many people think much of.
Glamorous division, Rico. One of the glamour divisions, middleweight.
Yeah. Johnny Beck, 2 belts, Lara 1 belt, and Jamal Charlo 1 belt.
And how long's Charlo been parked up?
Too long.
Eh?
Let's see. He's been parked up because that's why they have a interim belt holder because Charlo hasn't fought for ages. So last time Charlo fought was 2021.
What do you think about it being the 10-year anniversary of Froch Groves? Your thoughts looking back.
I mean, it's the first time I've been so shocked in boxing that I got up and I was silent because it was the most shocking moment.
Did you go?
No. I was watching with a friend and I got up and I was like, I couldn't even scream because I was just like so shocked they happened.
Oh, in round one.
Yeah, that
I
was like the most shocking because I thought
can't.
nobody can put Froch down.
Yeah, you got everybody
Like,
will
it's
like.
probably the best fight. I think it's the best fight, British fight that I can recall, sort of,
You
just
know,
because of the build up and everything else.
you know, it reminded me of. It's one of them proper rivals where you can see the venom. Obviously, there were a lot going on behind the scenes, but the venom
It
kind of a
reminds
bit
me
of
of,
Eubank. You know, the vent that they went at it
yeah,
like cats, didn't they? Like proper alley cats, didn't they? Groves really went after him, didn't he? You
yeah,
know,
and it was also like it was quite classy. It wasn't like they weren't calling each other like rude names and they weren't like digging up stuff because now it's all pantomime, right?
oh,
Now that was a proper rivalry where they didn't like each other and they both fought and put on really good performances. There was obviously drama with the corner team for Groves and all that stuff. So I thought it was I thought the narrative around it, the fact that they had the rematch fairly quickly afterwards, all of that was unbelievable. I went to the rematch at Wembley, but I thought like that was a proper build up. That's something that really captured people's attention, and it was real. It was not made up. They didn't throw chairs or tables. I think that was like the peak of British boxing. That moment there, it peaked, and it's been declined since.
you see, Groves. I don't know. I saw him at the weigh-in that day in Manchester, and I remember him arriving, and I remember him walking in. He had an head like a skull because he took £10 off on it overnight.
Yeah, he was a big guy. He's like a light middleweight. The way you
Like,
know,
yeah, look, well, he has an head like a skull. I remember him walking and I seen when he was dressed in, and I thought, God, he looked like some bloke who worked in an office. Or, you know, I'm not saying it,
yeah,
I'm
with his
not
suits and
no, he had this coat on, right? There's something like my dad would wear, these trousers and these shoes. And I seen him walking in, and I was looking at the Cobra, and I thought, and he was Carl was sat with Rachel, and I seen Groves in there getting stripped off and that. And then they put this hat on him, and I thought, God, he's going to get smashed to pieces. What's he got on? And people were like, God, look at Groves' socks. And it didn't mean no, did it, aren't they? You could
no.
on a bus and think, look at him, the geek. And then he got in and performed, didn't he?
I think towards the end you could see the weight training having a big impact, but because
That's
Fox
what done
stuck
him.
out.
Inexperience and tech it, because really he's a light heavyweight, really. You know that, don't you,
Yeah,
bro?
yeah, he is.
When
Yeah,
he sparred Froch, he always had a stone on Froch. When he sparred him, he was always
yeah.
a stone heavier. But that weight done him, and inexperience because he emptied his tank. Because he must have been thinking, I can't believe what I've just. He must have gone back to his corner after round 6 and gone, I can't believe what I've just hit him with, and he's still here.
That's it. I think that was the mental force of Froch just got him through the fight, right?
And round 7, Carl said to me personally, he said, he hit me in round 7. He said, I thought, oh, that's going to hurt. And he said, he hit me full on and it didn't hurt. And he says, and then a couple of other ones, and they weren't so much mustard on shots. And he took something from it. And obviously, we all know he finishes like an Intercity 125 steam train, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? But looking back on it now, what fights have we had since then that we can really go, whoa? We
But
can
even
count
if you
them
think
on one
about,
hand, can't we?
but
Come
think
on.
about the second Froch Kessler fight, the round 11 and 12 were just wars. Kessler's a classic. I mean, Kessler was a brilliant fighter. Kessler, one of the best fighters, technically sound, classy guy, always lady on the line. Kessler was a outstanding fighter, I think.
They never went at it slagging each other off, did they,
No,
Carl?
you don't have to. If you know it's a good fight, you don't have to do that. The fight sells itself. We don't have that anymore.
Because you could see, like, look, you've got two guys here at the top of the game. Everybody bought into it. There didn't need to be any selling. And this is my argument with the Usyk one, right? You've got Usyk undefeated. He's never fought a guy who's had a losing record as a pro. He cleaned up at amateur, in a European, world, and Olympic, all golds. He's done everybody at cruiser, undisputed. He's beat Joshua twice at heavyweight and 2 other wins at heavyweight. He's got all belts, 5 of the 6 belts. And also, you could see him sat there the other day, and Fury's effing this, effing that, and abusing it. And I think they looked like they were quite stunned. One, the manager, they didn't know what to do, did they?
Yeah, I mean, Usyk's a classy guy. Fury isn't. Let's be honest. Fury's an old classy guy. Usyk's a great ambassador for the sport.
It shocked me, and I got the impression that Usyk, I could see a couple of facial movements on him, and I thought, do you know what? They're not going to budge it. They're not going to get him out his stride. Tyson's done all sorts to get him out
Yeah.
his stride. I just thought, I think he's been around too long. He had what did he have, 350 odd fights, 360 fights as an amateur, and lost about 12 or something. And
Well, I
rematched.
hope Usyk wins because Usyk's a classy guy, so we've got to hope Usyk wins.
Am I out of order for cheering for Usyk on this and not cheering for?
No, no, I'm going to cheer for Usyk. I don't want Tyson to win. Usyk's a
Team
classy guy.
Usyk, I've got the hoodie off my mate Paul. Nice one,
Should
Paul.
we, should we end on that note?
We'll end up on that. I'm Team Usyk. Listen, what you got planned for tonight, Reed? Go.
Probably watch the Taylor fight, to be honest.
Taylor fight. That's what I'm going to watch tonight. Taylor
Yeah.
and Cameron, I'm going to enjoy my son. I've got a couple of cans of beer I'm going to have, Rico. I'm not a big boozer. I've got a couple of cans and I've got a curry in the fridge. So
Black sheep.
chill.
Black sheep.
No, I'm off at Black Sheep now. I've gone. I think it's a couple of San Miguel. I think lager. A couple of cans.
You moving up in the world, classy.
I'm going a bit. My stomach's a bit stronger now, so I can go for gassier stuff instead of Black Sheep or Guinness.
All right, my friend.
Take care, brother. I love you, pal. Cheers, mate.
Thanks, bye.
Bye. Thanks for liking and subscribing and leaving a comment. I hope you've enjoyed the video with my mate Rico. We set Porky's Corner up in November 2017, me and Rico. And he did all uploading for me and everything because I didn't know how to work a computer for 6 months. And then I was saying, Rico, what's happening with them videos? Are you putting them out? And he was like, well, have you sent them me? I goes, yeah, there's 7 backed up. And I could see Rico were like, oh, 7? He's up in pace here. And obviously Rico's got he's got a really good job. Like, I'm not going to go into it, but he's a wealthy young man. And he's got a really good job. Lives in London. And he was like, oh, you know, really, I could see you were being like, oh, how am I gonna? And I said, Rico, you're really busy, aren't you? Don't worry about it. Got a lot on, and listen. So that's how we ended up going in. Well, we're still really close friends, but Rico helped me start it, but he couldn't babysit me, you know, after 6 months. So I had to sort of get something going with me computer skills to get some stuff out, but we've kept going. And he's been brilliant. He's a really nice kid. So, all right. And he's done his 2-year national service in Finland, you know. How's about that? You have to do that as an adult. He's done it, got it out of the way. Just right. But well done, Rico. Well done. Anybody would be proud to have him as a pal, and I am. So, all right. So you take care. Thanks for liking and subscribing and leaving a comment. And thanks for sharing videos as well. All right. Pop, pop, bang. Peace out.